phone line, Dr. Melissa Clark. She's a leading voice discussing COVID-19 effects in the African-American community. She's the host of Real Talk with Dr. Melissa Clark every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on Facebook Live and Instagram. Good morning, Dr. Melissa Clark.
Good morning, Russ. How's everybody doing?
Well, we're hanging in there, and of course, had to be crazy. Everybody was out Memorial Day weekend. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm afraid that we're getting lulled into this false sense of security that reopening means that it's okay to go out. But we're seeing in certain states like Georgia and Alabama that hospitalizations are actually going up, or they're running out of ICU beds, even as they're pushing to open things like summer camps and movie theaters. So I really think that we need to focus on the fact that we need to wear masks now and stay 6 feet apart and wash our hands more than ever before, and not take this home to our loved ones who are vulnerable and have underlying conditions. We all know somebody with high blood pressure or diabetes or obesity, and it's important to protect them.
Even
if we don't think we're at risk.
Right. I kept seeing interviews and people saying, I'm not scared. I'm not scared of COVID. It said I. But what you don't understand is it's not just about you. And that's what people are not getting. And I think personally it's criminal that they are hiding the real stats so people can have this false sense of security and going out. When I saw people on top of people almost everywhere, in the Ozarks, in Ocean City, it just made me go, oh, we are going to get a second wave. Now, let me ask you, if there is a second wave, it's going to happen probably around September, right? So will it be as bad as this first wave? Or some experts say it won't be as bad.
Well, it's really hard to say. It really depends on how well people do over the summertime, when the temptation is to do the block party with 200 people, for example, that was in D.C., or, as you say, going to the Ozarks or many of the vacation spots that we always go to. So it's really important to, as I said, continue to practice what I call the behaviors that I just outlined, and that will help to decrease a second wave if it does come, and if it is there, how severe it is.
So on the good news front is we know more about this disease and how it's passed, and we know more about how to treat it. I saw a doctor testifying on the Hill the other day, and he's talking about somebody's coming in and they're not breathing well, giving blood thinners, vitamin C, and steroids. And they had amazing results. Have you been hearing some really good, innovative treatments?
Well, absolutely. The NIH has recommendations, and it's important to kind of stick with what's recommended, because there are always going to be innovations that show promise. But we actually know some really good things that we didn't know a couple months ago. Like you said, the blood thinners, or using antiviral medicine, specifically remdesivir, or techniques of how to keep people off of ventilators by positioning them in certain ways, or even like using plasma from people who have recovered. We know all these things are recommended. Steroids are recommended in very certain situations, very severe people whose blood pressure is dropping, for example. And then we know things not to use, like high-dose hydroxychloroquine. That's definitely not to be used. And then on the public health front, we know the CDC is continuing to put out guidance for reopening specific situations like businesses, and then schools actually just came out this very morning.
Well, it's kind of interesting, and I think, there was something that you were telling me that you wanted to talk about. What was that?
I did just want to say, there are a lot of myths out here about masks causing complications like collapsed lungs and people being unable to breathe. The bottom line is, if you wear a cotton cloth mask, that should not be a problem. Procedure masks, So not the N95 tight fittings ones, but the ones that surgeons wear for hours in surgery don't cause any problem.
Okay.
And you shouldn't be wearing an N95, the really tight fitted ones, because those are supposed to only be for healthcare workers. They're not supposed to be worn in the car for exercising or anything like that.
Gotcha. Dr. Melissa Clark, thank you so much. And, of course, Dr. Clark, her podcast is really excellent. Everybody that watches it says it's great podcast. No, it's Facebook Live. That's on Monday nights at 9 p.m. And
actually,
Instagram,
tonight
too.
we're on Tuesday night because of the holiday yesterday. So
okay, great.
Tonight is Tuesday night, 1 week only.
9 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you check it out. All right, Dr. Clark, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Take care.